We looked at kind of the personal side of things in the earlier sessions, but I want to shift a little bit. I'm going to talk about how desire begets desire. And that is, again, a personal word for all of us. We're all meant to be personally transformed, personally touched by the love of God, personally encountered. But I spent most of my time in the earlier session talking about that. Now I want to talk about how that's meant to become corporate and how our personal walk is meant to be a stimulus for all of us to grow together into something that reflects a mature corporate bride. The Song of Solomon has a cast of characters. It's worth just catching that from the beginning. There's Solomon, the king, the lover. All those phrases work. Solomon is the lover. He's referenced as a king and a shepherd, and he's a picture, of course, of Christ the Lord. The beloved is called the Shulamite. And so you have the lover and the beloved. The Shulamite, which is interestingly a feminine form of Solomon. Isn't it interesting? The Song of All Songs, which is telling us about our love, is saying these two are actually meant to look like each other. Solomon and the Shulamite, when we take his name, when we are caught up in the great story of his love, the two really do become one flesh. We're meant to carry the presence and love of God in such a way that when people look at us, they only see Jesus. So there's the lover, there's the beloved. She's a maiden bride, and she typifies believers who seek a closer, more intimate relationship with Jesus. And then there's this group that your Bible may say is the chorus or the daughters of Jerusalem. Historically, the chorus has been kind of understood almost like a Shakespearean plot device. You know, they show up every now and then when we need to explain something, we need to give some exposition and move the plot along, and we don't have time to really develop it as a narrative, so they just kind of pop in and go, la ta 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 ta, here's what's happening, and you move on. I think that's okay, but I really think what we are meant to see in the chorus is that's a picture of what the corporate bride is doing through the journey of the individual relationship that the lover and the beloved experience. The chorus is a bunch of women, all right? They're the daughters of Jerusalem, and they are giving commentary as they observe the intensity of love that others are experiencing in a personal way, but in a corporate way, they aren't yet transformed, and so all they do is comment on it. But we're meant to see over the course of the story how the corporate is transformed by the personal. So in other words, all of us have a walk with God that's at different stages of surrender, of experience, of divine love, of maturity. But the corporate bride is that thing that spans the whole earth, every tribe, tongue, and nation. And it's on its own journey that's being impacted by each of our personal journeys. The corporate bride is being called to a level of corporate union with Christ, corporate reflection of Christ. But guess what? You and I are the thermometer for that. We're the evidence of whether that's working or not. At an individual level, we're the ones that are raising the temperature to the boiling point of the corporate experience. So we all have our part. We have our individual relationship, but at a corporate level, he's bringing something forth in the earth that is going to dazzle the earth with his glory shining on our face around the world in every tribe, tongue, and nation. So Song of Solomon 3:3. The beloved asks this question. And I spent time in chapter 1, and I'm kind of bouncing around. I spent time in chapter 1 talking about that personal interaction. But in Song of Solomon chapter 3, the beloved asks the question, have you seen him whom my soul loves? Have you seen him? It's such an interesting question. She cries this out actually to the watchman in the city. And the chorus is going to later interact with this. But the question itself begs an answer. Have you seen him, the beloved cries? To which our passive, secondhand, observational, unrenewed minds must answer, along with the chorus, of course, no. No, or they would be searching like crazy too. See, right now the beloved is on a personal quest. She's wandering the streets of the city, asking everyone, have you seen him whom my soul loves? Have you seen him? Have you seen him? I saw him just a little bit. The kiss of his word touched me. Love awakened. His name became to me like the finest oil, the finest wine. I tried to convince him I was worthy based on my works. But then I started to learn to rest in his shade. Those are all from the earlier session. And I'm starting to understand that I don't have to perform my way into his love. He just loves me. But now I've kind of lost sight of him and I got to get him back. Have you seen him? And the chorus at different points is just watching all of this. Just watching the bride, the beloved, run around and do her thing. And they kind of speak up every now and then. And so the very fact that she is asking as an individual is saying, you must not have seen him or you would be joining me in the chase. Wow. Yes. Come on. We have to realize in that moment, for the question to be asked is to implicate us in a certain passivity that says we haven't yet been caught up in that chase. Have you seen him? Have you found him? It's to give voice from the solitary bridal figure to a deep corporate longing. There was a young man, he was only 17 years old at the time. His name was Evan Earwicker. He released a worship album back in the 90s. Some of you might remember. But he had a song on that. He said, I want to be romanced by the King of the ages. I don't want to sing of a passion I've never known. I want to get lost in the beauty of Jesus and dance through the night around his throne. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, we're all meant to be touched by that kind of bridal love. We're all meant to be that fascinated with that man. We're all meant to see the gap, and that's where I'm going. We're all meant to see the gap between what we do know of him and do see of him and don't know and don't see. And so the question, have you seen him, is provoking us to realize there's always more to know. There's always more to see. There's always more to be fascinated by. The beloved has been touched and is fascinated and lovesick, but the daughters of Jerusalem, that corporate woman, are more observational of lovesick longing than thunderstruck participants of it. The chorus is not yet fascinated or bridled in their thinking, and they are now being challenged to recognize and admit they don't know him and haven't seen him.